All right, so forming and solving once more. I've done two other videos. I'll put the links in the description. One with forming and solving with angles in polygons, forming and solving with lengths of polygons, and now I'm going to do forming and solving with parallel lines. So obviously these things are vastly different, and I didn't want to put them all in one video because it just makes the video too long. Now, just to point out a few things before we get going. We've got parallel lines here. We know that they're parallel because in maths, when you see arrows on lines like that, the arrows are going in the same direction. That tells you that those lines are parallel. And because of that, the rules for parallel lines will apply. So here I've got a situation where I need to go ahead and find x, or find a value of x. What I'll also do is probably once I'm finished finding x, I'll probably state these two angles, okay? So I'm going to say find angles, okay? So I'm going to find this angle here and find that angle there. But let's go ahead and find x first. Now, before I get started, I need to look at what I've actually got. And that little black line I've just drawn tells me that this angle and that angle are the same. They are the same because they are vertically opposite angles. So since they're the same, I can write that this angle here is 4x plus 15 as well. Okay, so these two angles are the same because they're vertically opposite. Also, here I have got the non-mathematical term is where they say it's called an F angle. So I'm just going to quickly trace around it, and that's because you can see I can make the letter F with it. But that's not the mathematical term. The mathematical term is that they're corresponding angles. So this angle is corresponding with that angle, which means that they are also the same. So if this angle is the same as that angle, then that means I can say that 5x take away 10 is actually equal to 4x plus 15. All right, so that's because they're corresponding. When you're doing a question like this, you may need to write down the reason why you have done this, and you may need to say that those angles are corresponding. So they're the same. Now that they're the same, I need to go and solve this. And same as I've done in the last two videos, I'm going to solve this using the balancing method. So the balancing method basically means I need to do the same thing on both sides just to see if I can solve this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. Because I've got x's on both sides, I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So take away 4x there, take away 4x here. And that means that this cancels out to be 0, and 5x take away 4x is 1x, or just x. So now I've got x minus 10 over there and 15 left over here. All right, so 5x take away 4x is 1x. I've still got that take away 10. This is gone, and I've still got that 15 here. So now the next job I need to do, I need to remove this 10. It's subtracting. The inverse operation is to add. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. And in so doing, what will end up happening is 10 take away 10 becomes 0. So then x is on its own is equal to 15 plus 10 is 25. So now I've solved the first part of the question. I have found x to be 25 degrees. Now that I've got x, I can now look at the other parts of the question, like for example, find the angles. So if I want to find this angle up here, let's just zoom into that a little bit. And in order to find that angle, let's just get that up there. Right, in order to find that angle, I need to swap this x for the number 25. So what I'll end up with is 4 times 25 plus 15. Well, 4 lots of 25 is going to be 100, plus that 15 is going to give us 115 degrees. So that angle is 115 degrees. And because I know it's 115 degrees, it means that this is also 115. and this is also 115. And that's the end of that question. Let's look at another type of question that you might see. So here we've got parallel lines yet again. And in this one, so here are my parallel lines as usual with my arrows there telling me that they're parallel. But these two angles are on the inside. And again, make sure you check that video out on angles in parallel lines. But they're on the inside. And because they're on the inside, they're called co-interior angles or allied angles or whatever way you want to look at them. At the end of the day, this angle plus that angle will add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to say x plus 22 plus 2x minus 13 is equal to 180 degrees. And same as I did before, I need to add up all of my like terms. So this x plus that 2x will give me 3x. Let's make sure we get rid of them. X and the 2x is equal to 3x. And then 22 take away 13 is going to give me 9. So 9 is equal to 180. Now we need to go and do our inverse operation. And in order to do the inverse operation, the first thing I need to do is take away 9, take away 9. This means that this is cancelled. And so 3x is equal to 171. And once I do 171, or once I have my 171, the last thing I need to do is divide both sides by 3. So therefore, x will equal to 171 divided by 3 is 24 and 3/7. Or you can write it as a decimal 24.43, whichever way you like. So it means that x is equal to 24.43. And that's the end of this question, provided that all they asked you to do was find x, which is where we're going to stop today. So I hope that you get that. Feel free, to just go back through the video again and then have a look. Find some questions that are similar to this to practice on your own. Make sure that you're solid on it. If you like this video, if you understand it, if you got something from it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and feel free to share it with somebody else that might like it. Thanks for watching.